My name is Nick Walls. I go to Crossville High School. I'm a senior. Um, I'm, I had an accident. My accident was 3.5 years ago, July the 2nd, 2014. Had a four-wheeler wreck, broke my back, and I've came a really long way, accomplished a lot of things, and I'll be going to Sneed after I graduate Crossville, and my life went from the worst day of my life, and it's turning into probably the best thing that could ever happen to me.
Tell me exactly about that day. What led up to you going there and that happening?
My friend Trent, he texted me and asked me if I wanted to go riding four-wheelers, and I was home alone, and my grandma usually didn't let me, she usually didn't let me or Drake go riding four-wheeler if nobody was there, but so I called her and asked her, and she said that was fine. Said just don't go past the fire department. I had a little block that I could ride around the house and stuff, and so I said okay, and so he got there and we went, and of course I didn't listen to her, and I went past the fire department, and I went about 10 minutes away from my house, and I went to this mountain, and I went to the top of the mountain, and we did this thing I was going to do this thing that I did it before. We used to always do it. It was just fun, I guess, but it was like you go to the top of the mountain and you put the four-wheeler in neutral, you cut it off, and you just like coast down the mountain. If you get going too fast, then you use your brakes to slow down. So that's what I was going to do, and so we got to the top of the mountain and I did that, and whenever I got to the first curve, I went to use my brakes to slow down, and they didn't work. They stopped working, and so I was a little freaked out because I'd been down that mountain before and I knew how dangerous it was, and I made it all the way to the last curve, and the last curve was like a complete 90. Like there was no way I could have made it around it, and I got halfway around it and I hit a tree dead on, going like 60, 65 miles per hour, and that bucked me off the four-wheeler, and I went flying off a cliff and broke my back. It shattered my vertebrae, fractured 3 ribs, and my left lung collapsed.
Now, how long were you in the hospital?
I was in the hospital for 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yes. I believe it was maybe that day or the day after, just not long after my surgery, the doctors came in and brought my family in the room and everything, and they told me that day that they wasn't for sure that if I would ever walk again. They thought that maybe I might be in a wheelchair the rest of my life.
And how did you get in this house?
I walked.
Now, you said it was 3 years ago?
3.5 years ago, yes.
Tell us some stuff that's happened to you since then, since the day of the...
Well, I played basketball before my wreck, and that was my dream. I loved it. It was my favorite sport, but after my accident, I started going back to school some, and Mr. Uptain, the principal, and the driver's ed teacher, they call him Coach Haynes, they come to me one day and they asked me about a track team, and at first I was like, well, I mean, they asked me how I felt about joining the track team. I was like, well, ain't track running and stuff, and I was like, how you want me to do that? But he's like, well, there's stuff you can throw too. And so I joined a track team. We started a track team at Crossville, and I threw the shot put, discus, and javelin. And my first year throwing out of my wheelchair, competing against able-bodied people, set 3 state records and 2 national records in those 3 things. And doing that, I also went to a wheelchair basketball. I've been to 2 wheelchair basketball camps. I went to Lakeshore in Birmingham, and then I went to the University of Alabama. I went to a wheelchair basketball camp there.
This is my last question. About the spot that you went to and that you had the wreck on, have you been back to that place?
Yes, I've been. I don't know how many times, but I'd say I've been there at least 5, 6 times since that day, just to check it out. And I don't know, I go there sometimes just to go there.
And do you have bad feelings towards it? Good feelings?
Not really. I mean, most of the time when I go, I'll have somebody with me, and like I'll be going to take them to show them where I had my wreck. But I never really try to think about it too much. I try not to let it bother me. It never really gets to me.